Who's next? Anybody else? Who else? Oh, yes, over here. Come on up. Give her a hand, everyone. And she makes her way to the front. So, what is your name?
Hi, my name is Nora.
Nora. And where are you from, Nora?
I'm from California, but I live in Atlanta, Georgia now.
Cool. And what is your best fit type preferences?
INTP.
INTP. Fantastic. What was your question or comment today?
Yeah. So we were talking about that concept of throttling, and Antonia, she brought up this wonderful phrase about the weeds growing through the concrete. And that's actually kind of what I was thinking about talking about before you guys even brought it up. So I have recently felt this really serious sense of urgency and impending regret about my lifestyle, my job, finances, politics, culture, pushing me to develop my weakest parts in neglecting my strengths. So I am grateful for working on things that are my weaknesses, like navigating social norms and corporate environments where I work, but that's never going to be where my full potential is. So I'm putting all this effort into something that's going to look like weeds through concrete anyway, and at the expense of what I really love doing. So I guess my question is
which is what? What do you love doing?
Well, I don't like managing relationships. I don't particularly like putting on an image for other people.
But what do you love doing?
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Well, she has INTP preferences. She might not have a ready answer.
Okay. So it's something you're still discovering.
Well, I was only mentioning what I don't like to emphasize what I'm doing. And it's the exact opposite of all that.
Okay.
So I really like, well, what I do right now, I like the function of the job itself, but not what's required to keep the job.
Okay.
So obviously I love problem solving, clean slicing. I also love being out in nature and exploring. That's what I want to do. But balancing those two things with how I have to keep, my life working, it's how do I come up with the right formula to balance it out? And I almost feel like I can't do both because it's been months, years, and I haven't found a way to do both yet.
So what I hear you saying is that even though the job that you're doing right now, you don't mind, it's all the ancillary things that are asked of you that feel like they're chipping away.
Correct.
Right. Like kind of a death by a thousand cuts type of thing.
Yeah. That's the sense of impending regret that's coming. Yeah.
Right. And do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I'll be 35 next spring.
Okay. And do you have like a career track you've been on this entire time?
No.
Okay. So a lot of people with extroverted intuition or NP preferences, exploration we call it, they have a history of doing a lot of different styles of jobs.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And so it's, what I'm hearing then is that it's not like you're like, well, I got my degree in this and I now have to do this thing and I've been doing it for 10 years and I realize it's the wrong thing. It's like, I keep searching for the right thing and I haven't seemed to find it yet. That's closer to what it is?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So there, I'm going to say something that almost sounds contradictory to what I was saying before, which is creating a lifestyle that's ergonomic to our type preferences. The opposite of that and the reality of that, or the reality of doing this is that, a lot of times we don't get to pick everything, right? We don't get to choose all of it at the moment we realize it, which is why I was talking about sort of like it takes a while to untether the life and then restructure it. It takes a while. So, and then with somebody with INTP preferences, the reason why I said she might not be able to tell you is, it's introverted feeling or authenticity that knows what it's like or what it likes, right? That's the function that goes, I like that and I don't like that. And I like that and I don't like that. Introvert things is like, is it interesting? I don't know what I like. I just know whether or not something's interesting. Right. And so.
Yeah, that's a very interesting distinction because they're two different things.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is with that, it's like the wand chooses the wizard. Right. It's like you're just interested in whatever you're interested in and you didn't even get to decide it. But now all of a sudden you've got like 40 tabs open and it's 2:00 in the morning. You're still researching it. And you're like, why am I even caring about this thing? So that feels like not a very reliable mechanism for choosing a career path. And sometimes it takes a while to figure out what it is you're supposed to be doing in order to make an income. But the one thing you can do is, what do you do with all of your discretionary time? And are you nourishing your type preferences in your discretionary time?
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask you, are you nourishing your type preferences in your discretionary time?
I mean, I don't know, but I'm going to go with probably not, or else I wouldn't be feeling this way.
Mm.
I'm just going to go with how it feels, which is hard to do sometimes. But that sense of urgency is what tells me I'm not doing it.
Yeah. As I mentioned with Denzel, I was like, are your functions nourished? If they're nourished, then they won't be so insistent to come out in inappropriate moments. So are your functions nourished? Right.
No.
Well, I would guess you're so exhausted by the end of the day. Like, how the heck am I supposed to have any time to do anything for myself?
I was just going to say that
out.
that's where the balancing comes in, because I kind of know what I need to do. Maybe I don't know 100%, but let's say hypothetically, let's say I know exactly what I need to do to nourish everything. Okay, when am I going to do that? Because if I'm in this environment 40 hours a week that is playing up my weaknesses, I am like, I just want to sleep for 3 days.
Yeah.
So here's where extroverted intuition or exploration can come in and be a friend. So you said that I actually like my job. It's just all the extra stuff I have to do. What have you done to pitch to the people that you work for to make it so you don't have to do those other things?
That is not an option.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a situation where like the job comes with all this extra stuff.
Yeah.
All right. And have you ever had a job or a career path that did feel like it was like, yeah, that was actually a pretty good one that like didn't feel like it pulled too much? No. Not yet. No. Okay. I don't know your life circumstances. I don't know the situation you're in. I don't know what you financially are obligated to. There's a bunch of missing pieces of information.
What hasn't worked yet.
I don't know what hasn't worked. I don't know what you've tried, right? So there's a bunch of stuff here. But I will say that if you're in a context that is stripping you of nutrients, okay, to a point where when you get home, you can't even feed yourself metaphorically, all right, then it is the wrong context.
Yep.
Right. It just is. Right? And it doesn't mean that you can't figure it out, and it doesn't mean you can't endure, and it doesn't mean you're not resilient. It doesn't mean you can't do it for a super long amount of time if you have to. But the question is, do you have to? Right? Is it required? And what are smart, creative ways to navigate your way, not to a job that's like your dream job? Because I think we've been sold on dream jobs. We've been really sold on this idea, right?
Not real.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it can be, but
I have a dream job. I love doing this. So it is possible, but it sometimes has to be carved out.
Yeah,
it's
that's not something I'm like thinking about really. Yeah.
I'm going to be radically honest. I do like what I do, but there's a lot of stuff in here that I don't like doing.
Of course.
Okay. So I wouldn't say it's a dream job. I would say it's really ideal and very much suits me. And I'm very lucky to have it, to be able to do all of this.
I love introverted thinking accuracy. It's like a bucket of cold water, right?
That's right.
No, you're right. You're right. There's a bunch of crap you got to do.
Yeah.
It's not always fun. This is like the dessert that we get from all the hard work we do behind the scenes. So yes, to your point.
Exactly. And so, this is the best part of it actually. And so, there is something out there that is at least neutral. Okay. There's something out there that's neutral. And you might have been building a lot of career capital that allows you to sell yourself into one of those jobs. So extroverted intuition or exploration, we've been talking about how there's like two different styles of it. Dr. Dario Nardi has come up with this concept that there's an analytic version and a holistic version. The analytic version, he calls a marketer. So basically what it means is that the analytic version of every function is more of an assertive version. It's kind of a push out energy. It's one that asserts itself into the outside world. And the holistic version of every function is a more receptive energy. It's more of like receiving information and it doesn't assert itself as much. It's more of like sort of taking it in and responding to whatever the stimuli is. For extroverted intuition, he calls the analytic version the marketer version. It's the part of extroverted intuition that sells an idea to another person and gets them excited about it. So one of the things that I would recommend that you consider doing because it's very common for particularly women who have NP and especially NTP preferences to be more receptive because we're harsh and people aren't expecting us to show up the way that we're showing up. And, like you should be nicer and kinder and more compassionate and more whatever is the image in one's head. Right. And so we go, okay, I guess I have to mute all of this and make it a softer version and not be as assertive and not get my hand slapped a million times. Okay. You're just shook. I don't know if this is it's resonating. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we have a tendency to not that it's not a rule, it's a trend. Okay. There's plenty of NP women out there and particularly NTP women out there that have a more assertive version of the function, but it is common for us not to. And it is something that we oftentimes get socialized into. So my recommendation is to maybe start flexing that more assertive version of extroverted intuition or exploration, meaning not just find something that's interesting to you and pattern, but get good at getting other people excited about an idea, right? Making it so that the job you want, you go in there and you get them excited about hiring you for it, right? Selling yourself, selling the idea, getting other people excited, sort of carbonating how they feel about you taking these positions. And I can't make any guarantees, but my observation has been that NPs that are on fire can get people pretty excited about things, right? Make it feel like it was their idea. And if you can find a context like that, again, you don't have to have the dream job. You just have to have something that's not taking so much from you, right? And if you can find that neutral space, then with your discretionary time, you can pursue all of those things that are really nourishing your type preferences. Does that track?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's my recommendation. Try to lean into a more analytic, assertive marketer, get other people excited about ideas version of that function.
So you're talking about persuasion.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Until it starts working. Okay.
No, yeah. And again, I'll go back to, I am grateful for the corporate environment I work in. I have learned people manipulation skills that I never wanted. But it's just, again, it's never going to be the strongest player.
Have you heard our podcast on subtypes, on the different career styles for INTPs?
Probably.
Okay.
If you haven't, you should listen to it.
Yeah, I would recommend it. So the concepts of subtypes is that there's actually 4 different styles of each of the personality types. And the creative and dominant INTP types have that more marketer style.
Oh, I remember it now.
Okay. Yeah. And so if you have a more receptive, you might be a subtype that's more what's called normalizing or harmonizing. And if that's the case, it does kind of feel like a bit of a push to get into that other subtype. But I still recommend, I recommend kind of playing around with it because that creative INTP space in particular, it can be really rewarding, right? And it means getting excited about ideas. And here's the deal. It's not just manipulating or persuading other people. The way that it works where it doesn't take energy from you is you're excited first. So you're not just trying to convince somebody of something that you aren't 100% bought in on. You are bought in on it. It is an exciting, carbonating idea to you. And so when other people get in your energy, they can't help but get excited about it. All right. So you're not just trying to manipulate, right? You're not just trying to get people to buy an idea. You're trying to get them to resonate with your excitement around it. And if you find positions that you think that will really facilitate my ability to be the best or the most me right now, let yourself get excited by the idea, right? Let yourself be like, this is cool. This is super cool. And then you get there and you're like, this is cool, right? You should totally hire me because it's super cool. And they're like, yeah, this is cool. We should do this, right? And then now you're in a better situation. So I'd try it out and see what happens. All right.
All right. I'll try.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Give
you.
her a hand.